move on to City Council. Again, we will start on this end and go straight across for introductory question. The mission of the Richmond City Council is to represent citizens in creating and amending local laws, providing government policy and oversight, and approving the city budget. What qualifies you for this role, and what makes you the most qualified candidate? Each person has 1 minute.
Thank you. I'm Ellen Robertson, and I'm the current City Council representative for the 6th District. I am best qualified for this position because I have currently served for 12 years on City Council. I have chaired the Finance Committee. I understand the process of the budget. I have chaired the Land Use Committee. I understand the necessity of zoning and special land use provisions that have to be made in order to encourage development. And I have done a great job with the help of residents of the community to spur development in the community. I have also done a great job with the help of the community of raising the level of revenue that is coming into the city of Richmond. I support community development, I support poverty initiatives, I support affordable housing, and I support public education of quality for all children.
Good evening. My name is Dorian and I'm running for the Richmond City Council for the 3rd District seat. What qualified me to run for City Council is I have 16 years in management and finance with a background in budget. The reason why I chose to run for City Council is because we need a City Councilman that's going to represent the entire district from Jackson Ward to Azalea to North Avenue to Seminary. I chose to run for City Council because we do need a representation, because there's a lot of underlying issues that we have in the district, starting from prostitution, public safety. We have schools that's crumbling, building businesses that's leaving the district. And as the next city councilman, I vow to represent the entire district, from Jackson Ward to Azalea to North Avenue to Seminary. Thank you.
Please hold your applause.
Over the last 12 years, we've had a certain kind of politics in this district, and it has failed categorically. It is time for something new, a fresh energy, a new focus on what matters: schools, roads, and public safety. I'm a Richmonder and a Northsider, and I get so angry when I see our political leaders fail us over and over again. I know our past, I know we all do. And I see our present. I see bike races and travel brochures and folks coming downtown. But I also see which schools are accredited and which are not. And I see which roads get paved and which do not. Isn't it time that we got a little bit of attention? But in my heart, I know our future is bright. I want to share it with you. A city hall that works. A school system that is prepared to send any child wherever they want to go. I need your support. We can do this together. My name is Donald L. Moss III, and I'm going to fight for you.
Good evening. I'm Chris Hilbert. I'm the current 3rd District Council representative, and I believe that my qualifications include 12 years on council, addressing the issues that are important to you: crime, education, and I'm communicating with you. I have a monthly newsletter which is out on the desk as you leave. I have monthly meetings. I try and communicate and get feedback from everyone in order to best represent you. You know, crime, we had 95 murders in our city a decade ago, and now we have half that. We have half the violent crime, and so now we can address the economic development issues that we need. I believe that I bring the proper motivation to this office with respect to education. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college, and I want what's best for Northside. I fought for you when Battery Park was flooded. I was there.
Thank you.
Tried to
Your time
fix the
is
school
up.
board. I
Thank
was
you.
there. Thank you.
How you doing today, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Hassan Fountain, and I'm a leader. What we need in our city, which is a new city, our city is very different than what it was 12 years ago. We are very diverse. We need new school leaders for this new school city. Right now, 6 months ago, me and Vaughn Johnson, we was in the schools before the bad news hit about 6 schools, talked about them closing. We was there preparing the students, educating them on the community, how to be involved in their community, and talking to them about being involved in the importance of voting. That's what we need. We need new school leaders. I am a leader. I thank you all. H.G. Fountain.
Good evening. My name is Milondra Coleman, and I am running for city council because I want to work for a better Richmond. I'm a lifelong resident of Northside. I attended Mary Scott Elementary, Ginner Park Elementary, Henderson Middle School, and John Marshall High School, where I now teach. As I work for a better Richmond, there are 4 areas on which I want to focus. 1 is service provision, 2 is crime, 3 is under and unemployment, and the 4th is education. As an educator, it is crucial to me that we work well with the school board to make sure that our students have the best education possible. Thank you.
I will remind the community that you will have a chance to cheer as much as you want at the end. We have to keep that time. So this next question is for a 6th district candidate and incumbent. Signs of increased investment are evident at the 6 Points intersection. What are your plans to encourage diverse small business development along Meadowbridge Road that creates job opportunities for residents?
Well, seeing as I live a couple blocks from there, I would really appreciate being able to catch the Sunday afternoon game to get a beer. So I'm all for a new set of commercial enterprise. First of all, we get about 10,000 cars a day up and down Brookland Park, all the way down to 6 Points. We need more parking, off-street, hourly parking, and the city's got to step up and make sure we've got surface lots. I don't know why this hasn't been done, but I will get it done. Most importantly, especially where 6 Points is concerned, we need someone who's going to fight to make sure that people that have a dream to start a business have someone on city council who will make sure that they have the tools that they need to start that business. It's an enterprise zone, 2 of them actually. All it needs is a city council person who will make sure that they know that there are funds, both local and state, grant and loan form, that will make sure that they can start the business that they want to.
Thank you. 6 Points in Holland Park has been an area that's been going through stages of development for quite some time, and it's because of those efforts and the engagement of the citizens that we now have $190 million that's going to be invested in the general area of 6 Points, much of that within the next 6 months, and within the next 2 years, you will see a completely restored area. Small businesses are the key to development in the neighborhood. It is not large businesses that takes that lead. And we have put all of those resources, all of the enterprise zones, all of the funding, the extra revenue and grant forms to make it possible to support and have great partners. And we have the most diverse small businesses in the 6th District at 6 Point, and I encourage you to come and visit.
We will now have community member Leroy Jefferson come and pose a question for both 3rd and 6th District new candidates.
Thank you. As a steward of public dollars, what will you do to assure the citizens that you will use those public dollars in ways that will yield high gains? As a steward of public dollars, what will you do to assure the citizens that you will use those public dollars in ways that will yield high gains? That you won't blow the money.
Well, I come from a family where my father was very tight with the dollar. And the same way that he was tight with the dollar, so am I. I believe in being conservative. I believe in looking at what the needs are of the city. What are the needs of my constituency if I am elected? And then making reasonable, rational choices that most effectively use the money that we have.
Yes, I think that with the public dollars that us as stewards will be using, we need to make sure they go to putting back into the community, having businesses, diverse businesses, and making sure the areas around them are diverse and building. Without doing so, we will be losing money. And to be honest with you, Brooklyn Park Boulevard is on the rise. I'm loving what the streetcar cafe is doing. I'm loving what Nomad is doing. We need to get the movie theater back on track and everything else back in form and get things going. Thank you.
For new candidates first, please.
So, like my mother told me, I married up, and my wife graciously allows me to keep the personal checkbook. So I can assure you that I run that very well, and I'll make sure that your dollars are squared away too. But on a serious note, after 12, 20 years of fiscal mismanagement, anybody that's got a copy of QuickBooks can probably improve on what we've got now. When it comes to your public dollar, I assure you, as a lifelong Richmonder, I will make absolutely sure that you will never open up the paper and find out that we are 2 years overdue on any financial report, even if it's what the mayor went out and got to eat that day. I promise you that. It's time to restore a little bit of fiscal integrity, from school board to city council to the mayorship, and I will make sure that that happens.
As a businessman, I think that we using these dollars, you have to look at running for city council or being on city council as a business. And I will utilize these dollars to make sure that the dollars that we spend, we are using it for the communities and using it for the part of the district that needs to be more for more of the money to put in. I think that you can assure that with me having a business background and having a financial background, that I will make sure that the dollars go towards anything that's supposed to go to in the district.
Thank you. This next question is for the 6th District incumbent. Please provide an example of how you have directed public funds on Meadowbridge Road 6 Points for the highest public dollar returns.
I just want to make sure I got your question right.
I can repeat.
For me, please.
Please provide an example of how you have directed public funds on Meadowbridge Road 6 Points for the highest public dollar returns.
At 6 Points, we have under construction a senior citizen housing complex that will provide decent, affordable housing for over 67 seniors. The city's contribution to support that, we provided a very small grant to cover part of the gap with a nonprofit national organization. We have leveraged those dollars more than 300%. We have also invested public dollars to make essential public improvements, infrastructure, so that other businesses can come into the area. We have a nonprofit organization that is bringing in an additional $500,000 programs just for youth. So all of the investments that have been made at 6 Points include private, public, and nonprofit organization, and all have been excessively leveraged.
Thank you. This next question, and I believe it's our final question. time? No? Okay, well, maybe not. Is for the 3rd District incumbent. We have a number of derelict properties on Brookland Park Boulevard. 2 key properties essential to the revitalization efforts were recently sold: Brookland Theater at 115 West Brookland Park and the Bank Building at 201 West Brookland Park. Has any public funding been set aside to revitalize these properties? If so, what is the expected rate of return on the public's dollars?
Thank you. Yes, there were public dollars involved in the purchase of the Bank Building. It's a significant building along the boulevard. There are plans to make a business accelerator in the first floor of this property. There were $200,000 that was allocated to the budget last year for that. I know Mr. McDaniel here was trying to buy the theater, had that under contract, but we put monies in the budget for the streetcar cafe, and that has made all the difference in the world. That was another $300,000. The facade program, the CARE program, which includes facade improvements, we've invested over $1 million in public-private dollars, and that has yielded 26 jobs and retention of 22 jobs. So I know it can be done. We're going to keep on pushing to make sure that we get a hold of these derelict buildings, put them in the hands of private developers that can make a difference and create jobs.
Thank you. We will now have community volunteer Joe White pose question for 3rd and 6th District new candidates.
Good evening. I have a 2-part question for you. What will you do to address the persistent drug trade, homelessness, and joblessness affecting this corridor and the surrounding neighborhoods? And how would you promote community involvement in those efforts?
As the next city councilman, the way that I will address certain issues, we have a lot of underlying issues, and one is public safety. I will work with the police chief to make sure that we are recruiting the best police and the best public safety workers. Far as the drug trade, I would like to see more community policing in high crime areas that we have in the 3rd District. I want to be able to see the utilization of the command posts that they have, and also as far as the homelessness, we need to revisit the panhandling law that we have, because we have a lot of panhandlers that are homeless, and we have a lot of people that's living under the bridge, and we need to make sure that we are reaching out to them to make sure that they do.
I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you.
All right.
So when it comes to homelessness, this city has really dropped the ball recently. We had a number of programs that were better funded, and they've been cut, unfortunately, the last couple of years. Specifically in the area of divergence, which is where we have folks who come out from the city and make sure that homeless folks actually may have somewhere to go and connect them with either those services or those friends and family members or what have you. So I'll definitely make sure that we've got some funding for that moving forward. When it comes to the uptick in crime, and I know we've all noticed it, it's actually nationwide, unfortunately, but here in Richmond, it's almost certainly the result of a 12-year spat between RPD and our elected leaders. A lot of our police officers, they don't go into this to make a lot of money, but they can be expected to at least put a roof over their head. Unfortunately, we have not kept pace with the surrounding localities on what we pay our officers. And many of them, in fact, nearly 50 over the last year and a half, have left to go there to make sure that they can make enough money to put roofs over their children's head. That's unacceptable. These are the people that take care of us when we sleep at night. We've got to fight to make sure that they've got what they need.
Thank you. Your time is up.
As far as the drug, the prostitution, and the crime, I suggest that we have a police hub on the Park Boulevard. Not a big police precinct, just a hub with a couple of desks, a coffee machine, so that the presence will be in the area. We need presence in the area. Right now, I live on Noble Avenue, and we have young men and young women coming through in the middle of the night, pulling on the door handles. It takes roughly 5 to 10 minutes, and by the time the policemen get there, they're gone. And I actually call them once a week. And as far as the homelessness in our district, I suggested we try to have a work program. Right now we have the issues of the grass need to be cut. Bring them in, give them a job, offer them a job, pick them up. I mean, we have to try to provide some type of services for those guys. Thank you.
As was stated, there are many areas of great need in our city, and one thing in which I believe wholeheartedly is partnership. I don't do everything. I'm not the expert on every issue. And so one of the first things that I would do was seek out the individuals who have the best knowledge about drugs in our city, about prostitution in our city, about homelessness. And I would work with those individuals and ask them, what are the best strategies? What are the best ways that we can deal with these issues? And then we would look at the resources that we have to address them, and we would move forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final question for all candidates, and we can begin on the end where you are and come on over to Ms. Robertson. What services, laws, processes, or combination thereof do you propose to reduce the number of transitional or halfway homes in the Northside?
If we are going to be able to reduce the number of transitional or halfway homes, one of the major issues that we need to focus on is economic development. And why I say that is because the research shows that one of the best ways to enhance a community is economic development, which is closely tied with human development. And that's what we're looking for. We need to make sure that we're focusing on growing all of the individuals that we can in the 3rd District. We need to look at areas such as literacy. That's one of the ways in which we can grow our individuals. We need to look at skills that individuals need as far as jobs. We need to look at also have them having the appropriate interviewing skills, but we must focus mostly on growing the individual, and that means from every area. We're looking at the individual in a holistic manner. So that means spiritual, psychological, educational, whatever the area may be, that's what we must do. Thank you.
Yes, on the issue of the group homes, actually I know it's a building on the corner of Brookland Park Boulevard in Chamberlain, the old rock building. I mean, to me, I would like to see that transition to helping out our homeless, helping out the guys in the group homes, the halfway houses. I mean, that building's been sitting there for years, and actually we need to put it to use. It's sitting over to the side. We have enough room to have classrooms, give them some type of vocational training. That's what we need to do. We actually need to give back to it. I mean, some people say we need to do this, but we need to actually train them. If they're having a problem, quite naturally, they need to be trained. Thank you.
Chamberlain Avenue has one of the highest concentrations of group homes in the Commonwealth, and I understand that that can be an issue and that it can overwhelm an area. However, what the local government can do is code enforcement on these homes. The state runs the programs. The state gives licenses to these homes, and they can't be and shouldn't be zoned out of existence. But they can be addressed through various cooperations with the state. But I have requested and have received cooperation from the state. We have had a couple of homes shut down because of their inhumane conditions. And that's what we need to focus on, are the people inside and what they can do. But we also want to make the property owners accountable to the community, make them accountable from the appearance of their building as well as their treatment of the residents inside. Thank you.
As someone who has one of these group homes a couple blocks from his house, I first want to urge a sense of tolerance towards folks who are, maybe not going through the best time of their lives. I'd like to echo something that Mr. Hilbert said. These are state licensed operations, and In fact, we desperately need to beef up and enforce our code enforcement laws and zoning laws, not just in this area, but in many others. And that would help in a lot of areas, especially with the rampant blight that we still see in large parts of Northside. Most importantly, when we talk about helping anyone at any point, we have to make sure that they started out from a place of strong education. And this is another excellent area where investment in our schools, which is really just investment in ourselves, would help alleviate this problem before it even began.
I believe that the first thing that we have to do when it comes to these mental health homes is we need to find out who's in charge. I work with a lot of organizations, and I'm a part of a lot of organizations that try to go to the home and we try to find out who's in charge, because we do have the people that live in the homes. They come out in the streets, they panhandle, and we want to make sure that we find out who's in charge. And I think one of the issues is they never know who's in charge. And so one of the rules I think that should be put in place, that they should have somebody that monitor these individuals as they are getting their money from the state. They're getting their money and they're not dispersing the money to the individuals. That's why they have to go out and panhandle and do extra stuff they need to do to get extra money. So I think that we need to address the ownership of these houses in the 3rd district. Thank you.
One of the reasons why we have so many houses of this sort in both the 3rd and the 6th district is because there's a lack of affordable housing in the city of Richmond. Every person deserves to have a decent place to live, a safe place to live, a roof over their heads. Until we get to the place where we recognize that there needs to be an inclusion of different houses types in all communities, then some communities get saddled with a concentration of houses. And that's what's happened in the 3rd and the 6th district. And we need to increase our funding to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. We need to provide a diversity of types of housing so that everybody have a decent place that they can call home that provides them the services that are needed. Thank you.
This concludes our City Council segment. Now you may applaud. Thank our school board candidates, our City Council candidates. Thank you very much. You did great on time, setting that bar high. I'm going to ask that you exit stage left and take the seat in the row behind our mayoral candidates.